Few crimes in history capture the imagination like the Great Train Robbery of 1963. Imagine a quiet night in the English countryside, stars barely visible, and a Royal Mail train racing through Buckinghamshire, unaware that it carries a fortune that will change the lives of men and haunt the nation for decades. Over £2.5 million carefully packed in mail bags, silently waiting to be stolen. While most have heard of the audacity of Bruce Reynolds, Ronnie Biggs, and their notorious gang, almost nobody knows the intricate planning, the hidden helpers, and the tense moments that almost caused the heist to fail before it even began. This is not just a story of money, it is a story of precision, human psychology, fear, and audacity. And tonight, you will hear it all, every secret, every moment, as if you were there on that quiet night under the stars, waiting to see what would happen next. Britain in 1963 was a nation in transition. Modernity was creeping into everyday life, yet systems like the postal train still relied on trust, habit, and routine. The Royal Mail train from Glasgow to London carried more than letters. It carried parcels, valuables, and a special high-value package van filled with banknotes. Pounds in £1 and £5 notes totaling over £2.5 million, equivalent to tens of millions today. The train was trusted, predictable, and almost impossible to imagine being stopped in its tracks. But this very predictability made it vulnerable, and there were men who saw opportunity where others saw routine. The planning began months before August 8th. Bruce Reynolds, the mastermind, along with his gang, studied the train meticulously. They memorized timetables, calculated speeds for every segment, noted where wheels squeaked, and observed which tracks slowed trains subtly without anyone noticing. They studied the driver, Jack Mills, for his habits, noting when he slept, when he paused, and how he reacted under pressure. They rented a remote farmhouse, Leatherslade Farm, miles from any main road, under false names, and stocked it with supplies, getaway vehicles, and plans. Every detail was rehearsed: how to enter the van, how to form a human chain, how to lift heavy mail bags, and how to move quickly without leaving a sound. Even the floors of the barn were tested for squeaks, and every movement was timed down to the second. The gang was composed of men whose names became infamous: Bruce Reynolds, Gordon Goody, Buster Edwards, and Ronnie Biggs. But they were not alone. Quiet, unseen helpers, insiders who provided critical information about train schedules, carriage contents, and safe roads ensured the plan could work. Some drove support vehicles, others watched the surrounding countryside for any sign of authorities. These unseen figures were as important as the robbers themselves, yet history barely remembers them. Without these hidden hands, the plan could have collapsed at any moment. The night of August 8th arrived. Just past 3 a.m., the train approached Sears Crossing. The gang had tampered with the track signal, covering the green light and replacing it with a red, powered by a simple battery purchased days earlier. The driver obeyed. The train stopped. Jack Mills and his co-driver left the cab to investigate the apparent signal issue. The co-driver discovered cut cables and quickly returned, but it was too late. Mills was struck over the head with a kosh, rendered unconscious. No firearms were fired. The gang relied on speed, brute force, and shadows. Every second counted. With the train halted, the robbers uncoupled the locomotive and the high-value van and moved them to Bridgeoak Bridge, a secluded spot. Here, the real heist began. A human chain of men unloaded roughly 120 mail bags, together weighing over 2.5 tons of banknotes. Bags were passed swiftly to waiting vehicles, a truck and 2 Land Rovers. The operation took just 15 to 20 minutes. The remaining train crew, unaware of what had happened, continued with the rest of the train as if nothing had occurred. Outside, the night was silent, except for muffled movements and the occasional rustle of clothes against canvas. The gang fled along minor country roads to Leatherslade Farm. Inside, they divided the loot into shares. Some burned small portions out of fear. Others stayed awake, listening for police sirens. In one corner, a Monopoly board lay on the table. Laughed at, played with, but also a crucial piece of evidence later discovered by police. Even a botched arson attempt could not destroy every trace. Everyday items, ketchup bottles, floorboards, and sheets carried fingerprints that would eventually help law enforcement identify the robbers. Fear, paranoia, and greed mingled in the farmhouse, making the gang uneasy even in apparent safety. Police quickly launched one of the largest manhunts in British history. The flying squad of London Scotland Yard, alongside Buckinghamshire officers, traced leads, followed property records, and investigated every suspicious action. Small mistakes, arrogance, and fingerprints on mundane objects led authorities directly to the gang. Within weeks, arrests began. Roger Corddry was captured hiding above a florist shop. Others were traced through bank deposits, sudden spending, or even casual conversations that revealed too much. Some, like Ronnie Biggs, managed to escape, disappearing into obscurity for decades. Trials were swift, convictions handed down, decades-long sentences issued. Most of the gang received up to 30 years in prison. Bruce Reynolds, the mastermind, received 25 years. Buster Edwards got 15. Some tried to fade into anonymity, others attempted new identities or fled the country. But the stolen money was never fully recovered. Much of it vanished into the unknown, creating legends, myths, and hidden fortunes whispered about for decades. There are details almost nobody remembers. The so-called Ulsterman, a mysterious insider, helped coordinate timing and provided precise carriage information. Minor helpers, electricians, and drivers quietly executed plans that never made headlines. A simple error like misplacing a bag or making a noise could have ruined the entire heist. And yet, despite overconfidence, mistakes, and luck, the robbery succeeded almost perfectly. The subtle brilliance was in preparation, coordination, and audacity. The human side of the story is just as dramatic. Jack Mills, the driver, suffered lifelong injuries. Some robbers, isolated and paranoid, became haunted by fear of capture. Others wrestled with guilt, greed, and betrayal. Relationships broke down. Lives changed forever. Even those who escaped felt the psychological burden of a crime that could never be undone. This was not a simple theft, it was a complex dance of human emotion, risk, and audacity. The Great Train Robbery has influenced culture for decades. Books, films, songs, and documentaries tell the story over and over. Security measures changed. Postal train procedures were overhauled. The fascination remains because it combines careful planning, audacious execution, human error, mystery, and enduring secrets. Questions still linger. Where is the bulk of the missing money? Who was the unseen insider? Could such a robbery happen again today? History has only given partial answers. This story is more than crime. It is human drama, meticulous planning, and audacious risk. It teaches lessons about trust, error, greed, and courage. And for those hungry for hidden truths, shocking secrets, and untold stories from history, there is more waiting. If you want to uncover them, to hear the full drama of crimes that changed lives and captured imaginations, make sure to subscribe, because some truths are buried deep, and only those who seek them can uncover the shadows of history.